For 4,500 years, a terrifying secret has been buried in the landscape around Stonehenge. Scientists have now confirmed a ring of massive, precisely dug pits, a structure so enormous and enigmatic it forces us to reconsider everything we thought we knew about the site. What were they trying to contain?
The discovery that changed everything. Summer 2020. A team of archaeologists is conducting a routine ground survey near Stonehenge. They're using remote sensing technology, ground-penetrating radar, magnetometry, standard stuff. But then, something appears on the screens, something impossible. Dr. Nick Snashall, archaeologist for the Stonehenge and Avebury World Heritage Site, sees it first. A pattern, not just any pattern, a perfect circle of anomalies stretching for over 1.2 miles in diameter. At first, they think it's a glitch. The equipment must be malfunctioning, because what they're seeing would make this the largest prehistoric structure ever discovered in Britain. They run the scans again and again. The results are identical. 20 massive shafts, each one over 30 feet wide and 16 feet deep, arranged in a near-perfect circle around the monument of Durrington Walls. And here's what makes your skin crawl. These weren't natural formations. Every single one was hand-dug with primitive tools over 4,500 years ago. The Neolithic people who built these had no metal, no machinery, just antler picks and stone tools. Yet somehow, they excavated these enormous pits with mathematical precision that rivals modern engineering. Dr. Vince Gaffney, lead archaeologist from the University of Bradford, described it as the largest prehistoric structure ever discovered in Britain. But the question that haunted everyone was simple. Why? Why would anyone invest thousands of hours of backbreaking labor to dig these massive holes in a perfect circle? What were they protecting? Or what were they trying to keep out? The circle of power. Let's talk about what we know. The circle of shafts surrounds Durrington Walls, a massive henge monument located about 2 miles northeast of Stonehenge itself. Durrington Walls isn't just some random site. In 2500 BC, this was the largest known Neolithic settlement in northern Europe. Thousands of people lived here. They built houses, they held feasts, they gathered for ceremonies we can barely imagine. And right in the center of this settlement sat a massive timber circle. Some archaeologists believe this was the counterpart to Stonehenge itself. Stone for the dead, wood for the living. But here's where it gets strange. The ring of shafts doesn't just surround Durrington Walls randomly. Each pit is positioned exactly 870 meters from the center. Perfect spacing, perfect alignment. The level of planning and coordination required is staggering. This wasn't the work of a single generation. This was a multi-generational project that required precise knowledge being passed down through time. Think about that. No written language, no blueprints, yet they maintained mathematical precision across decades of construction. Dr. Gaffney noted that the shafts may have served as a boundary, a line that marked sacred space from the mundane world. But archaeological evidence suggests something darker. Inside several of the pits, researchers found deposits of chalk rubble, animal bones, and worked flint. Deliberate placements, ritual offerings. One pit contained the remains of a carefully positioned cattle skull. These weren't just boundary markers, they were portals, points of connection between the earthly realm and something beyond.
The builders who shouldn't exist. Here's what makes no sense. The Neolithic people of Britain in 2500 BC were supposedly primitive farmers. They grew crops, they raised livestock, they lived in simple settlements. Yet the engineering feat required to create this circle challenges everything we think we know about their capabilities. Let's break down what they actually achieved. First, they had to conceptualize a circle over 1.2 miles in diameter, without aerial views, without surveying equipment, without any of the tools we consider essential for large-scale construction projects. How did they even plan this? Some researchers suggest they used wooden stakes and rope to mark the circle, but maintaining accuracy over such a vast distance would require knowledge of geometry that supposedly didn't exist for another 1,000 years. Second, each pit required excavating approximately 1,000 cubic meters of earth and chalk, using antler picks. The estimated labor? Over 4 million work hours for the entire project. That's equivalent to 500 people working full-time for a year. And remember, these people were also farming, hunting, building homes, and surviving. Where did they find the time? Where did they find the manpower? Third, and this is crucial, the pits weren't left empty. Archaeological evidence shows they were deliberately filled in, creating depressions in the landscape. Why dig enormous holes just to fill them back in? Unless the act of digging itself was the point. Unless they were opening something. Dr. Tim Daw, a geophysicist who worked on the project, made a chilling observation. The shafts appear to align with natural geological features in the area. Sinkholes, natural voids in the chalk bedrock. It's as if the builders knew exactly where the earth was already weak, where the boundary between above and below was already thin. Were they following some ancient knowledge about the landscape? Or were they responding to something they could sense but not explain?
The ancient terror theory. There's a theory that archaeologists don't like to talk about publicly. It's too speculative, too unsettling, but the evidence keeps pointing toward it. What if the circle wasn't built to keep people out? What if it was built to keep something in? Let me explain. In 2019, researchers made a disturbing discovery at Durrington Walls itself. They found evidence of a massacre. Human remains showing signs of violent death, skulls fractured by blunt force trauma, bones bearing cut marks consistent with defleshing rituals. This wasn't a burial ground. This was a killing ground. Dr. Mike Parker Pearson from University College London, who has spent decades studying Stonehenge, made a startling connection. The dates matched. The violence at Durrington Walls occurred around the same time the shaft circle was constructed. Coincidence? Maybe. But here's what makes it terrifying. Ancient cultures across the world build circular structures for one primary purpose: containment. The Goseck Circle in Germany, dated to 4900 BC, was used for ritual sacrifices. The stone circles of Senegambia in West Africa marked boundaries between the living and the dead. The medicine wheels of Native American cultures were designed to trap malevolent spirits. Circles have power. They create boundaries that spiritual forces cannot cross. Now, look at what the Stonehenge builders created. Not just one circle, but multiple layers of protection. The shaft circle was the outermost ring. Inside that, Durrington Walls itself formed another circular boundary. Inside that, the timber circle. 3 rings of protection, 3 barriers between something at the center and the outside world. But protection from what?
What the ground remembers.
In 2021, researchers began analyzing soil samples from inside the shafts. What they found changed everything. The soil composition was wrong. Not wrong for the period, wrong for the location. Several pits contained layers of organic material that shouldn't have been there. Charcoal from fires that burned at temperatures exceeding 1,000 degrees Celsius. That's hotter than any normal cooking fire. That's cremation temperature. But no human remains were found. What were they burning? Dr. Susan Greene, senior properties historian at English Heritage, noted something else. The pits showed evidence of being opened and closed multiple times. They weren't dug once and filled in. They were revisited, renewed, maintained over decades, possibly centuries, as if whatever they contained needed constant attention, constant monitoring. The archaeological team also discovered something that sent chills down their spines. Traces of a substance in the soil that shouldn't exist naturally. A compound formed only when bone is burned at extreme temperatures in the presence of certain minerals. Not human bone, not animal bone, something else entirely. The chemical signature didn't match any known species. Now, before we jump to conclusions, let's be clear. The samples could be contaminated, the analysis could be flawed, but multiple independent labs confirmed the same results. And then there's the alignment issue. In 2022, an astronomer named Dr. Clive Ruggles noticed something the archaeologists had missed. The shafts weren't just positioned in a circle, they aligned with specific celestial events. The summer solstice sunrise, the winter solstice sunset, the major lunar standstill, a rare astronomical event that occurs only once every 18.6 years. The builders weren't just creating a physical boundary, they were creating a cosmic calendar, a way to track when the barrier between worlds grew thin.
The connection we ignored. Here's what mainstream archaeology won't tell you. But the evidence is there if you look. Stonehenge wasn't built all at once. It evolved over 1,500 years, from 3000 BC to 1500 BC. Each generation added something, modified something, as if they were responding to a continuing threat. The earliest phase was just a simple circular ditch with cremation burials. Over 50 cremation pits have been found at the site. Then came the timber structures, then the bluestones, transported over 150 miles from the Preseli Hills in Wales. Why bring stones from so far away? Because those specific stones had power. The Preseli Hills were considered sacred by Neolithic people, a source of healing, a connection to the other world. Finally, the massive sarsen stones were erected, some weighing over 25 tons, the structure we recognize today. But here's the disturbing part. Every phase of construction made the circle stronger, more permanent, more impenetrable. And the shaft circle around Durrington Walls was added late in this timeline, around 2500 BC, right when the violence peaked, right when something changed. What happened in 2500 BC that required such an extreme response? Climate data from ice cores tells us something interesting. Britain experienced a sudden, dramatic cold snap around 2500 BC. Crops failed, populations declined, desperation set in. In times of crisis, humans do desperate things. The question is, what did they awaken?
The truth hiding in plain sight. Let's look at the evidence one more time. A massive, circular structure, precisely engineered. Pits dug at temperatures and depths that required extraordinary effort. Evidence of ritual activity, possibly sacrifice. Astronomical alignments marking critical cosmic events. Multiple layers of circular protection, and a site that was maintained, modified, and reinforced over 1,500 years. Now, here's the official explanation. The shafts were boundary markers for a sacred precinct. Simple as that. But that explanation ignores too many questions. Why so deep? Why the ritual deposits? Why the evidence of burning? Why the obsessive maintenance? In 2023, a team of anthropologists published a paper that finally connected the dots. They compared the Stonehenge shaft circle to similar structures around the world. The stone circles of Ireland, like Newgrange, the circular temples of Malta, like Hajar Kim, the medicine wheels of North America, the Goseck circle in Germany. Every single one shared common features: circular design, astronomical alignments, evidence of ritual activity, and associations with death, the underworld, or spiritual containment. The pattern is undeniable. These weren't just monuments to the dead, they were active spiritual technologies, systems designed to manage forces that ancient people believed were real and dangerous. Dr. Parker Pearson said something in a 2023 interview that stuck with me. These people weren't primitive, they were responding rationally to their understanding of the world. We may not share their beliefs, but we must respect their sophistication. But what if their beliefs weren't wrong? What if they were responding to something real, something we've forgotten how to see?
The question that remains. Today, Stonehenge stands as a tourist attraction. Thousands visit every year, snapping photos, buying souvenirs. The shaft circle around Durrington Walls is invisible from the surface, filled in millennia ago, forgotten. But it's still there, under the ground, waiting. The people who built these structures invested generations of labor. They endured unimaginable hardship. They maintained these sites for over 1,000 years. Why? What did they know that we've forgotten? In 2024, archaeologists announced plans to excavate one of the shafts completely, to reach the bottom, to see what, if anything, lies beneath. The project is scheduled to begin in 2026. Many researchers are excited, some are nervous. A few have quietly refused to participate, because there's a question nobody wants to ask out loud. What if the ancient builders were right? What if there really was something that needed to be contained? And what if, after 4,500 years of neglect, those boundaries are no longer strong? The shafts were designed to be permanent, but nothing lasts forever. Erosion weakens the chalk. Natural sinkholes continue to form. The barriers are crumbling. Whatever the Neolithic people feared enough to dedicate their lives to containing, it might not stay buried forever. Stonehenge has guarded its secrets for 4,500 years, but secrets have a way of surfacing, and some doors, once opened, can never be fully closed. The true terror of Stonehenge isn't what we've discovered, it's what we're about to uncover.
What do you think lies beneath the shafts? Leave your theories in the comments. And if you want to dive deeper into ancient mysteries, check out our YouTube and see our other videos. Don't forget to subscribe, because the past is never truly buried.